Welcome everybody, and delighted to see so many here tonight. My name is Dominic Taylor, for any of you who don't know me already. I really wish we could meet in person to launch Matt's book, especially as launch events are so important for book publishing. Nevertheless, it's heartening that we can still come together with like-minded purpose to celebrate this launch using technology and platforms like Zoom. So although I'm sure you will agree that a direct experience is always preferable. I'd like to say a little bit about the Limerick Writers Centre and Revival Press, for those of you not familiar with our activities. We're based in Limerick City, and we work to foster a thriving literary community in Limerick and the greater region. We have, up to COVID, been doing this by holding regular reading events every month at our Undernail Literary Gathering. We also organise creative writing courses and workshops at our centre, and we supported, up until COVID, 3 writers groups who met once a month to share their writing. We established 2 festivals. April is Poetry Month in Limerick, and the Bring Your Limericks to Limerick Festival. And last but not least, we publish books under our community publishing programme. Our publishing activities straddle many genres, including poetry, short story, memoir, and the occasional novel. Our prime motivation is to publish and promote writing within the community. Tonight, I am proud to say that Steering by the Stars, the new collection of poetry from Matt Mooney, and the book that we are launching here at this event, is our 117th title published since we began our publishing program over 10 years ago now. As fellow poets and friends of Matt will know, poetry is a very important part of Matt's life. I first met him at our readings at the White House in Limerick back in the early 2000s, and subsequently he has supported and read at our On the Nail readings and other Limerick Writers Centre events. I was delighted when asked by Matt if Revival Press would be interested in publishing his latest work, and I was only too willing to do so. I believe Matt is a poet with still something to say, and I'm grateful that we can provide that vehicle for his work. Before I finish, I'd just like to thank everyone involved with the publication, and a word of special thanks to our longtime book designer, Lot Bender. Lot has been responsible for creating the professional look for our publications for over 8 years. Now I'd like to introduce our guest speaker for tonight, and the poet who is going to launch Matt's new collection, Thomas McCarthy. So I'll hand you over to Tom.
Beginnings of their lives as they search for a place to settle down and begin their own living. You have poems like Girl on Her Bike, about an attachment that got away, or the fabulous poem Castaways, about being in the ballroom and remembering those glorious days of ballroom life. You have poems like Belonging, or the poetry of writing and of the commitment of writing and of the kind of the lonely quest of the writing life. And I'm thinking of poems here like The Master and John B on page 28 of the book, and poems like Steering by the Stars itself on page 27. But there are other poems that don't appear to be about poetry, and in fact they really are about the poetic craft too. I'm thinking of a poem like All Mine on page 50, which is an extraordinary poem, All Mine, which is a poem about trees. And let me just read you a few lines from it. And you'll know what I mean when I say that these poems, though they may be about other things like rearing cattle or planting trees or caring for trees, they are nearly always metaphors for the poetic process. I'm attached to all my trees, and I worry greatly about clinging ivy vines. And then he says, I treasure all my trees. They stand their ground when I am down. And I think that is an absolutely incredible phrase. They stand their ground when I am down. And that's the power of the poems in Matt Mooney's life. And the poems are constructed as powerful, centered expressions and constructions in his work. They, in fact, always stand their ground, and they have done in each collection that Matt Mooney has produced. So I give you a poet who can write a fabulous poem like Harbour Lights, which is a poem of family celebration, a barbecue and a christening. You have poems, as I say, about cattle and the earth and caring for the land. You have poems like A Place to Stay on page 60, Strange Notes and Resemblance, all poems also about time passing. So, as I say, this is an important moment for us as we mark this night of publication of the book Steering by the Stars. It's an important part, but only one part of the journey, the poetic journey of Matt. And I've admired him from the moment I heard him read his first poem. And this new book, Steering by the Stars, confirms many of the reasons why I admire him. So it's a great pleasure to launch this book and to praise a very, very fine poet in Matt Mooney. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Tom. That was a very good, comprehensive introduction, Tom, to Matt's new book. We're going to have a few poems now read from the book by Matt himself. So if Matt can unmute himself there, we will go over to you.
Right, unmuted, here's Matt. First, I want to thank Tom there for that wonderful introduction. Thank you. I'm indebted to you, Tom, for coming to launch my book. I want to thank Theo Dorgan, who was kind enough to read my poems and to endorse me on the back cover, to give me a little review. I am indeed indebted to Dominic Taylor, not for the first time. Always and ever loved to be going to Limerick to read poetry and Limerick in the White House, at the Lock Bar. Dominic Taylor and Barney Sheehan did Trojan work in Limerick all their lives. The late Dominic, the late Barney Sheehan,
Please.
Dominic and Barney, Dominic were inseparable, and did the Trojan work. Now, I want to go on then to, and of course I have to mention the fact that I'm proud to be associated with Revival Press, because indeed it has a great record. I go on to Siobhan Mooney, who has been a copy editor of this book, and not for the first time again, has backed me up in all my productions, the technical know-how and so on. And she's a freelance curator, she has helped me immensely to present my work properly. The next one is, I would like to thank Indrek Giugini, the managing editor of the Galway Review, an excellent literary magazine, who has been like a rock for me as regards giving me expression in their literary magazine, both their anthology and their online magazine. I want to thank Writers Week. First book ever I wrote, 2003, as was mentioned there earlier about Tom. 2003, I launched the Writers Week, and ever since I've launched all my books at Writers Week. Lately, in recent times, they haven't been unable to do anything like that for me. But we wish them great luck in getting back again shortly. And of course, they have their Writers Week coming up online in June. I want to thank the writers, the Shanachie Writers Museum, the person of Cara Trent, the Shanachie Poets, led by John McGrath and Mike Gallagher. I want to especially thank Sandy Yannon. I don't think I could do without Sandy at all. You know, she really has kept me going, and so through cultivating voices, and so has Not the Time to Be Silent, brilliantly led by Siobhan Potter, and Lime Square Poets, brilliantly led by Dor Schleifer and Lauren Kavanagh, we'll see here tonight. So you're all very welcome, and you've done an awful lot for me over the last year or so. To my own family here, Mary, my wife, and Maeve and Siobhan. And I can't say how much that I owe to them. I mean, where would they be, the man says, without them? And the Mooney clan in Galway and elsewhere, in Galway and from Galway. And I say a special hello to Tom Mooney in Dublin and to Patricia, who is here tonight. Then we have Sally in Galway and Maureen as well. So I want to say hello to those as well. To all of you tuned in through Zoom tonight, I want to say, all my friends, it's fantastic to see you, family and friends. Míle buíochas Steve Galale. Gur Father Buanship. Thanks very much. Now, straight into the poems. The first poem I will read to you is page 35. I suppose you thought I'd never start. Well, here we go. There'll be no stop now, so you take a deep breath and dive under with me. And this says resemblance. Contentedly, I shaved before the mirror on a cruise liner on the Baltic Sea and remembered how my father loved it when I did the same for him on Saturdays in his latter years with his filly shave. While he followed the siding run of his shaver, smiling satisfaction in that old mirror by the front window above the table, directing the operation with odd grimaces, making comic faces, easing the razor's root. A gang of garden roses looking in to boast of their brilliance from flower passion spent by my mother. Flashes of passers-by arousing our curiosity on our country road through the Leylandy. Now I see his contours in mine. From the years it's taken to be like him, cruising to Copenhagen. We go on to the aforementioned by Tom, Steering by the Stars, the title poem. This is for Michael Hartnett, one of the greatest poets, very proud of him this side of the world, the late Michael Hartnett. My poems are written, you said, I'm being told to trim your sails to stop you drifting on the rocks, and drift you did, and you left us looking into the sunset for you. Once in crossroads conversation, sitting around in the Arms Hotel, in the quiet before Writers' Week, I put it to you as to where I was, or if I was on the right bus at all. Are you a poet? You threw at me, in a voice that put me sitting up, knighting a vagrant soul searcher, strangely by a serious challenge, led by the beck of your tilted cap. Down the road I look back at you, eye to eye with me, taking me on. Mine will be written too, Michael. Yes, mine will be written soon. From here, I will steer by the stars.
Well done.
Harbour Lights. It's long about Harbour Lights, isn't it? So Tom has given you an introduction to this one already, so I'll go straight into it. A special Sunday afternoon has gone, and now we sit outside the tables, supping tea and drinks together among family and friends, flanked by Comfrey Cottage. Facing Courtmacsherry Harbour, day and night, tide in, tide out, Kinsale Bay beyond Wood Point, and in between a long sandbar. race from every ebb and flow where two silhouettes stroll. The keen of a curlew, echoes of distant callow sounds embedded in my head many global spins ago, of seas and shallows, hills and hollows, turning on its axis, following the future, turning its back on all that was, for the sake of future generations. Today, a christening and a barbecue mark the new beginning, the advent of another heir to all the earth. Now, the eyelids of the night drop slowly while stars still shy appear from high above over the Harbour Lights. And from there, I will take you straight to Inishmaan if you're still aboard. Page 25. This is a very special one for me because I have family there. Some are present tonight. There's Anne and Kieran and family in Inishmaan. And my daughter, Kieran, her husband, Kayla. I will go where my heart is lighter. I will go soon, for I found a place lying beyond in the wild Atlantic where my grandchildren run free, getting sure of their own identity. Up on sandhills, roaring, rolling, going for swims up the old pier, cycling to school all year in safety, loving just being young islanders. There I'll not feel cold inside at all, for island folk are warm-hearted, knowing ní neart go chur le chéile. We should be there for one another. On arrival, I will marvel once again at hand-woven stone grey walls, loose knitted and fitted so intricate through centuries of passing time. I'll walk on smooth limestone slabs, circumventing gripes and clents, where goats might hide in hollows of weathered rock that broke away aeons ago from the Isle of Erin and the Burn. This oasis off the coast, Elon Orlin of our Gaelic speakers, for tyrants' chains never rattled here. They held on to the wealth they had. I will easily go by crisscross roads and stop to marvel at a rock pool, dipping my cares in its crystal soul, or lean upon a wall for a long look at primroses that have now turned a little green field to a yellow gold. Further on, some sheep and lambs, an upturned boat with lobster pots, a man spading in his spring garden. I'll go back soon to the middle isle, and between two shores I'll watch for each sunrise and the setting sun, and I will own the moon above me when it's full again over Inishmaan. Very much back home, and when I say home, I mean home in Galway, back, years back. And any of my family from Galway listening tonight will recognize this. The title of the poem is Glenine. A man that featured in this poem actually as an older brother at the time is a man I will be reading later about in my last poem, my late brother Pat. High-tailing it in high dough, half-trotting it to Glenine on the crooked cow track up through Larry's fields, lockdowns along the route, rushes through sheep gaps, barefoot bondage, siblings, straight after haymaking to the Roxborough River bend for a quick dip to cool off in pools we knew so well, drying out without towels by a simple helter-skelter up a hill racing to the top. Light breezes in our faces, tumbling back intoxicated. Back in Tanavalla, Listowel for this one. The woods of Coolnaleen, part and parcel of where I live. All mine. I care for all my trees, big and stout or slim, and those that fall about. And lo, our squawking crow agrees, and wonders why I care at all for all that grows up in the wood. Higher and higher, since first I stood up on this first hill when they were young. I look at all my trees, some are straight and high as ones I can go, and I envy them their view, for it's little I can see below, between all of them that's there, their heads stuck up in the air. The ash, the oak, the beech, and the sycamore. I'm attached to all my trees, and I worry greatly about clinging ivy vines that snake higher and higher every year, squeezing every tree tight until before long they're strong enough to kill. And so I go to war on them with saw and hatchet. I treasure all my trees, for they make me feel that I'm a wealthy man. And when I lean against them, I feel good. They stand their ground when I am down. All stripped bare, their trunks are smooth, and some have barks of crusty brown. They're all mine, and I think they know my mind. Now we come to a stark cross. The only thing I wrote that in the march to mark your burial were 6 simple lines, grief-laden and finite. The rain fell gently on your grave the day they buried you in Lucan, a victim of the virus, a stark cross above you. Out the door of life, alone in isolation, the rest of us in lockdown far away. Consolation later in the loyalty of friends around your estate on a grief-filled day, in their applause. As you pass by, and they sang our Galway song that says, "Is far away I am today, from scenes I roamed a boy." In your funeral film, their last farewell, their hymn from home for you. I have hesitated long, maybe in denial, to open up the book, the story of your life. It's good times and the bad as well, bettered bravely. For maybe I'm afraid I find myself inside there with you, living it to the full, listening to you, Pat, my own big brother, taking it all in, then seeing the funny side, laughing in the end. Thank you. Gurmila Mahago.
Thanks very much, Pat. I'm sure everybody enjoyed that. It was fantastic. I'm sure if anybody who hasn't got a copy of the book, you can get it directly from Matt, from his new website, which is at the address is on the top of the chat there if you want to have a look at it. And you can also get it directly from the Limerick Writers Centre website, whatever you want to do. And I'm sure there's some local shops in Listowel around there who might be stocking it as well. So please buy it. It's we can't meet together. I'm sure every one of you would be buying the book if we had met in a room somewhere for a live launch. So please buy it on the internet if you can. Okay.
And Dominic, I would say maybe Kenny's as well. They have my books, so they'll probably have some.
Kenny's in Galway, is
Kenny's
it?
in Galway, yeah.
Yeah,
Great
yes.
distributors, yeah.
Yeah.
Kenny's.ie.
Yeah,
Kenny's
that's right.
.ie,
That's
yeah.
right. That's right. Okay. And O'Mahon is in Limerick. Will have it when they open up, I assume,
Okay.
as well. So, okay. Thank you all for tuning in, and it'll be great. It's great that you had so many. We had 51 people, which is great.
Yes.
Does anybody? I'll leave it open to the floor. Anybody want to unmute themselves and say a few words to Matt? You're more than welcome to do so.
Eileen, how are you? Eileen Shane. Eileen Shane has given so much to Listowel with her workshops and her poetry. The great Kerry poet. What else do I see? I better have a look. Hold on. Hold on, let's see. Anne Donegan, welcome. Of course, in the kitchen we have Siobhan Mooney and Mary Mooney, my wife. Billy McGrath over in Spain, over in Bilbao. Savin Kretchev. How do you pronounce that, Savin?
It's pronounced Kretschmar. Mar. Kretschmar.
Oh my God, that's brilliant. I've learned a bit of German tonight. Savin is a wonderful friend of mine. I've had great time for Savin in Germany, and he's regular on our reading sessions in Cultivating Voices and Limerick Square Poets.
I see Sandy, your name there up there. How you doing, Sandy?
Oh yes, lovely.
Good to see you.
Lovely. Let me discover a few more now. There's Margaret O'Regan, my great friend. How are you, Margaret? Jared Duffy.
Great to hear you.
Great, Margaret. Chris Fitzgerald is a great man for poetry too, in the show, for everything, for acting, for drama and poetry or anything, you name it. Mona Lynch, you're welcome. Say hello to Maud. Thelma Blaine, mighty woman altogether. Thank you for your support always. Sandy, if we could hug, this is a lady I would be hugging. You're very welcome. Lauren as well, God bless you. Lovely. From Lime Square Poets. Sandy from Cultivating Voices in the States, all the way to the States. John McGrath, great man. Fair play to you. From the Stores. Adore Schreiber, lovely hurling. Oh my God, it's great to see you from Lime Square Poets. Eileen, of course, I mentioned Eileen. Mary Brady, one of our Shanachie poets, brilliant, lovely, and thanks for coming. And Rajab Sarkar, Martina, thank you, I see your name there. Rajab Sarkar, a great friend from the other side of the world. Cormac Fitzgerald, good man, Cormac. Great to have you around. And welcome, Carl, Jan Clare, Patrick Daly. Brilliant to have you, Patrick. I made a great effort to try to get you on board, and by God, fair play to you. You're on board. A great poet friend of mine from East Galway, from Capeltagal, from Mulla. You all should get to read Patrick Daly's poetry. And I don't know who iPad is. Kieran Kelly is there, Tasha Palter wrote to Kieran in Ishmael, Roisin Kelly, Gorini in Palter wrote, and McWalter. Would you believe it? My great friend in Boston, the great friend, that at one stage we grew up together each side of the wall in Galway, two different farms, two neighbouring farms when she was a child. in the States ever since. Anne Mooney falls your route. My daughter. Catherine Crowley, indeed, you're welcome. Great stuff. Liam Kelly, Lima Kelly, great singer, great Shannon singer. There you are, Kieran's son. Dahi Carney, great poet there in his own right, great musician from Dundalk. And I think we nearly have everybody. Lola Scholar, great friend from Phoenix, Shanachie, one of the Shanachie poets. Have I left anybody out? Sheila Ford, lovely. Ronan's mother and Huck. Lola, yeah, we have Lola, we have nearly all there. Margaret Shane, that's it. Is that it now? Well,
I think we've got most of them.
Put up your hand if there's anybody else. Mila, the Mila Falcheroy, I was Gurmila Margaret's top. And the best of luck to you and good health to you all.
Okay, thanks a million, Matt. And we're going to end the meeting there. And so, again, thanks for joining us. I look forward to meeting in the flesh, so to speak, soon at some other poetry events.
Yeah.
So we're going to say good night from Tom and from Matt and myself. Okay, take care.
Michael, God bless you. Yes, Michael again.
Congratulations, Matt.
Thank you. I'm delighted to see you tonight. We'll have to meet on Zoom more often.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Great stuff.
Sounding so true, Matt.
What?
You've made my day over here in San Francisco.
When you come on, you make my day. And when you talk about looking out the window across Francisco Bay, that makes it for me. Fair dues to you, Jeff. Lovely, a great post, mighty man.
Bless your heart.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, good night again. See you.
Good night, Dominic, and thank you so much.
Okay,
Thanks,
take care.
everybody.
Bye-bye.